I need to make this video to release a mental block which is causing me to not enjoy playing Overwatch 2. Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. So this video is going to be about the state of Overwatch 2 and where the game is going and some realities that we need to live up to, or I guess get used to living with, not really live up to. Okay, let me break this down. The horrific Monetization remake covered up under the pretense of being a sequel mentally boomed me. I was not ready for this at all. The moment they locked the heroes in the battle pass, well, I guess everyone knew it would be absolutely terrible. If they are willing to monetize a core aspect of the game simply because it's the easiest path to make money, you knew things were going to get bad. This is the mentality of rinsing your player base at the cost of everything else. Think about players coming to the game now. Oh, look, here's a new player pack with new heroes. Yeah, more monetization. But the issue is here, this makes the game even more impenetrable to new players. It makes no sense. When free-to-play was meant to be all about increasing the player base and attracting new players, I wanted Blizzard to reinvent free-to-play, to give us the best version. Instead, they just copied the worst practices of their peers to essentially chase maximum revenue generation through player frustration, which is just the worst. I think it's terrible. You cannot earn premium currency from the battle pass to buy the next one. Even Fortnite lets you do that. You can't complete the old battle passes. Halo lets you do that. It's just horrible. Oh, and can someone please explain to me what the hell souvenirs are about? The loss of player trust is a big one. And I'll be honest, I've been in a pretty bad way because I've been used to producing tons of content and it would always be on Overwatch. Yeah, you know, there'd be bad times, there'd be good times, there'd be good topics, bad topics, but there was always that underlying vein of constantly playing and enjoying Overwatch. And honestly, guys, I've just hit a brick wall. And I think this video is part and parcel of me moving through this wall. But we'll get to that in a second. So, I mean, I firmly believe this game has been absolutely gutted to nickel and dime its current player base. It's short-term gain over long-term stability, and that makes no sense. It's a cash grab on the heels of the promise of Overwatch 2 and what it was going to be. They gutted all of the meaningful gameplay progression to shove the battle pass down our throats. Remember when we used to get end-of-round cards? Remember when you used to level your account? All of these things. No. That is gone now because all they care about is the battle pass. But you know what's funny? They seem to be reverting that with the new progression system. So where are we going? Are we going back to Overwatch 1 but with microtransactions coming out of its arse? Because that's what it feels like. And the great joke with this game is Overwatch 2 launched with less features than Overwatch did. And we're slowly getting these features back. I mean, a great example recently was the whole, oh, look, On Fire is back. It's like, yeah, that used to be in Overwatch 1. Okay, it's a little bit different in Overwatch 2, but it didn't really warrant it being removed from the game, did it? You know, there's all these issues. It's like they're adding things back to the game that used to be in the game and wrapping them up as some great new update, yet there's millions of us old players looking at this going, yep, we played this years ago. What the hell are you going on about, Blizzard? So there is no trust here. I think this is the issue I'm trying to get at. We get told one thing and then another thing, it feels like, is delivered. We get given things that we used to have access to before back to us now as if it's new content. And yeah, I guess the final nail in that coffin was the way PvE has been handled recently, but we'll get onto that in a second. Let's talk about communication, because this is another issue as well, that they're so they're so laughably bad at this. It makes no sense. So they've got communication and they've got content showcases. These content showcases are, let's roll out the devs like they're rock stars, and yeah, actually they've got very little to show, and yeah, this is actually damaging the game and actually leans further into bad communication issues. I mean, look at this. The game director is on Twitter correcting his live appearance mistakes. I mean, what is going on there? Why can't they produce a highly edited, concise video that explains in detail with no grounds for misinterpretation just what is coming to the game? There shouldn't be more confusion after you announce content for your game, Blizzard. And that's what happens time and time again. And to me, that stinks of a massive internal communication problem. So that's obviously going to be projected outwards when they start talking to the community, because they don't even know what they're talking about anyway, and it's just embarrassing, to be honest. The PvE is it's watered down. Let's not beat around the bush here. Nothing we have seen so far has convinced me this is anything other than Archives Plus. Not to say that's a bad thing, but it doesn't look like it is any substantial upgrade over what we got in Overwatch 1. Again, it just looks like the monetization of Overwatch 1 Archives events with a little bit of extra polish and slightly bigger maps and a little bit, a couple of different mechanics here and a little bit of a cutscene here and there. That's all it feels like to me, because I'm pretty sure that's all it is. The more I think about this, I actually bet that the upper management probably wanted to remove this entirely. It probably realized, you know what, we're actually making quite a bit of money here off just the battle pass and the shop. We shouldn't really bother with all this extra development. We should just pile more into this, and let's maybe cancel PvE in its entirety. But I'd like to think that maybe the devs, they sort of pushed through to keep some of the PvE, and that's what we've got now. This is maybe why the devs do like to come forward and keep talking about PvE, because it's probably taken a ton of effort to get this actually in the game. I think it's pretty clear where the game is going right now. I mean, you look at all of the lead developers that have left. Now, people leave jobs, and this happens, and people have been at Blizzard for a long, long time, and Blizzard has had a ton of internal problems itself. These are all reasons why people would leave, and obviously most recently the return to office, which has been instituted, which some people simply won't be able to do that, and they move away. But I think when we look at the most recent high-profile person who left, this was Scott Mercer. He was at Blizzard for 27 years. This is an instrumental game developer who was integral to the development of games like World of Warcraft and obviously Overwatch. I mean, these were two of the biggest games that were ever made. This man is a legend. He's left the company, and he says he's off to go and focus on himself, on his mental and physical well-being. And that's fine. People do leave the company. But again, you can't help but think, this image that is put forward by Blizzard is like, okay, a lot of the top guys from years past are all leaving now, and you could argue that the timing of this does sort of look like, yep, the PvE has been essentially gutted from what it should have been. The talent system is now gone, and somebody like Scott probably was working on that quite heavily. Remember, this was someone who worked on World of Warcraft, would have probably been heavily involved working on talent systems and the way they'd function in the game. Is it a coincidence that he decided to leave now? I don't know. But again, you could read between the lines here. The fact is, he left, and he very clearly stated why he left the company. So why am I making this video? I think it's just me coming to terms with the aspects of the game that when I focus on them, they just remove all joy that I used to get from playing the game. But when I ignore these, I actually really enjoy Overwatch, and it still is a good game. The issue I've got is coming to terms with this. As I say, it's like I don't really know what I can do. I look at my channel, and I look at the videos that I've been making, and yeah, I can keep moaning about monetization. I can keep moaning about the way things have been implemented, but it's like, it feels like that's all I'm doing, and I don't want to do that. I really, really don't want to do that. I want to make content on the game because I enjoy the game. So I think it's part of that, making this video today. With that being said, though, we still have to call them out on their poor decisions. I want the game to make money, right? If the game makes money, we get more content. But I just don't agree with the current trajectory of things like the monetization system. I think it's terrible. I guess this is made somewhat more hilarious when you look at what Gabe has done with Valve recently. I mean, with Dota, he's just got rid of the battle pass. It's not even in the game anymore. Now, I don't think it sold particularly well in Dota, but you can't help but think that, once again, Blizzard are late to the monetization craze of the last generation. They did this with Overwatch. They sold the game, which was fine, but then they had loot boxes in it, which was not fine. And yeah, it very slowly became the best loot box system in the games at that time because you could earn them so generously. Obviously, this meant that the game had a problem making money, but if it actually sold expansions and stuff like that, then maybe it would have been okay, or had a different monetization system altogether. The thing is, though, this game we have got right now has a battle pass, and the battle pass is not great. Will it become the best in the industry before battle passes become defunct? I don't know. I don't think it will. The issue here is the competition is already starting to move on. I think we need to be realistic, because what we've got now is Overwatch 1. That's 5v5. But with game modes, or new game modes being added, new maps being added, new heroes being added. And that could have just been Overwatch itself. They could have just carried on updating Overwatch. And then the PvE could have come later down the line, and that could have been Overwatch 2. But that's not the case. So it's all very messy. It's just a giant... Well, it's a giant cluster, isn't it? This game won't ever be revolutionary again. It will not take over the world, but I think it can be sustainable. I just hope the bulk of the poor Overwatch 2 launch decisions do ultimately end up being reverted. But, and this is a big but here, it depends on how much money the game is making. And I want to end the video on this as well. It's been a little bit doom in this video, but I just wanted to get it out there before I resume enjoying Overwatch and cracking on with my life, basically. Overwatch 2, it isn't on the verge of collapse. Like, let's be under no illusions here. This game isn't going to collapse. But what I'm worried is that they're making good money off these horrible changes, and that'll only make them introduce more of these systems. This is a very vicious cycle. Why they couldn't commit to re-updating Overwatch 1 and then selling us a full-blown expansion, I don't understand. There is even scope for making Overwatch 1 free-to-play and then supporting it via other means. Instead, they decided to go for a horrible battle pass, stupidly expensive skins, and now they're selling the PvE missions, which were part of a big story expansion in 3 mission packs, which need to be purchased as well as the battle pass. This leaves a nasty taste in your mouth. So I think that's all I want to say right now. I don't think I'm ever going to change my opinion on the monetization of Overwatch 2. I think I'm still going to call it out when they keep adding terrible things to the game that just shouldn't be in the game. But I do really feel for the developers that are left working on the game, because the game, like, the narrative design is great, the voice lines are great, the character designs are great, the balance is questionable, but it always has been with Overwatch. The gameplay itself, though, is fine. Yeah, the foundations are great, but then everything that completes the wrapper of the Overwatch 2 product, I just will never like it. It's so insane to me that they went down the path of trying to attract new players at the expense of their old player base, which numbered plus 50 million players. So you piss all those people off with your crappy new monetization. You hope to get people through the door because it's free to play. And now we end up in this situation. It feels like that they're scrambling to go, oh, no, let's quickly try and make changes to make the 50 million people who played the game happy and come back and play the game again, instead of trying to attract a ton of new players. It's very, very odd. Okay, everyone, thank you for listening to this sort of support group video. I think this is... I'm going to start trying to go back to producing videos in Overwatch 2 that are not just rant videos, that are not just highlighting problems with the game or things like that. I want to get some positivity back. All right, guys, you can follow me on everything, which is at Stylosa. I'm also on TikTok, which is StylosaUL, because someone nicked the name Stylosa. I'm trying to do a little bit of a different thing over there, like a game and news style thing, so go and check that out. I've also got my other YouTube channel, which is the Unit Lost channel, which is sort of a reborn channel. If any of you guys watched my videos from years ago, there is a link to that in the video description below. And if there isn't, just search for Unit Lost Gaming, you'll find that. It's kind of like how I used to make videos in the past before Overwatch came along. And yeah, all right, guys, I'll leave it at that. Thank you for listening and watching today's video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. And do let me know what you think about Overwatch 2 in the comments below. See you soon.